Hello and welcome to today's stream where we are behind the scenes of Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Now, if you are going to be watching the show later on, please bear in mind that this does contain spoilers, so you should be aware of that. If you please, you will have spoilers. If you don't want those spoilers, join us again on the hour as Ghosts of Saltmarsh continues. Until then, however, we're going to be talking about my battle plans in terms of, well, how we go about producing a Ghosts of Saltmarsh show and the adventure that's coming up today and what's going to happen. Now, what is important to realize when we are putting the show together is that we have a battle plan. We have been working on a plan and we have been trying to stick to that. So before I get too much into it, let's just see, have we got some people watching? Yes, we do. Okay, good. And is the audio coming through nice and clear? I hope so. We've got a full show today. Today is going to be one of the first, I suppose you could say, real dungeon crawls per se, assumedly. I don't know what the players are going to be doing, so that is always a bit of a mystery, which I think is quite fun. Glad to see the audio is good there finally. That's a change. So what are we doing? Well, this is our battle plan. Behind me you can see the battle plan that we have been working through methodically, that we have been trying to work through methodically, but which the players have not yet got to. And it's not from the players being bad or being uncooperative, it's from the players exploring the story as their characters, which is all that you could possibly hope for. As a dungeon master, that's what you want. You want your players to be exploring the characters' backstories and the plot starting to unfold and happen behind them as life goes on. If we then look at this plan, we only have 12 episodes, if you recall. And those 12 episodes, we're now on episode number 5. Episode number 5. So we are moving through this quite quickly. And where should we be? Well, Sea Battle we did. Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh is episode 2, 3, and 4. We have only now just got to Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh. As a matter of fact, it was just at the end of episode 4 that we're there. So that means, in theory, that we are 3 episodes behind. Well, not really, because if you look later on, further down, further down we have the Aquatic Adventure PC background stuff. So we have 2 shows there. So I can steal those 2 shows, which means that I'm actually only 1 show down. So as long as in today's episode I wrap up the Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh plus bring in the Lizard Alliance, we're okay. Now, why is it, as far as you can see, why am I pushing to make sure that everything fits within the master plan so that by the time we get down there to our climatic battle, it is a climatic battle? Well, first and foremost, it's because it's a show for you guys to watch, so we want it to be entertaining. It is only a single season, so we also don't want the adventure to end mid-adventure. That would be incredibly unfulfilling, and I think that would break the promise that we as Twitch streamers, as YouTubers, would make to you as the viewer. You invest your time to watch a show, you want a good ending. So we're aiming for an ending. But even that aside, in a regular game, by having a defined conclusion, you know where to aim for. So I don't have to beat around the bush. I don't need this undead lich thing, the black tide. I don't need it to go on and on and on and on and on and on for 24 or 30 sessions. I would prefer to wrap it up and then start a new adventure, to start another adventure that's part of the bigger campaign, if you like. So that's where we are. We are still relatively on track. I am taking questions today. If you have questions about the campaign, if you've been watching the previous 4 episodes, if you have any questions, please pop them into chat. I'm sitting here watching chat. I can see some familiar names there that are from the usual chat. I can see some new names as well. Always good to have people here joining us on the show for the first time, or even for repeat people. Okay. Right, White Tiger 225, first question that came through. Question, when do you plan on leveling the players? Yes. Yes is the question, or the answer, I should say. Leveling of the players needs to happen, I think, when we are at a moment that makes sense for them to level up. We're going to be using milestone leveling, so it's not just a case of gaining experience points and moving forward, because so far they've really had a lot of encounters and stuff. I had actually wanted to level them up before they got to the mansion, but things kind of rolled forward, and then I didn't want to stop the show as we got to the mansion. So from my perspective, there was a bit of a timing thing. That was on me, absolutely. Once they have cleared out this mansion, because the mansion is designed for level 1 characters, and I have built it and played it, prepared it as that in Fantasy Grounds. So to level them up now would be a break in the flow. So once they have finished this mansion run, they will then level them up. They will level up. But most likely, I will level them up twice. So they'll jump from level 1 to level 3. And the reason for that is level 2 is always seen as a bit of a non-event. It's like, oh yeah, level 2, I get 1 extra this, or I get a bit of that, or I get an extra ability, but it's usually minuscule stuff that doesn't really change the character too much. But jumping from level 1 to level 3 is suddenly a bit of a growth. I also feel that the characters themselves, by going from 1 to 3 straight away, it does make them feel as if they have become a little bit better, a little bit more powerful. So that's what I'm going to do. So that was a good question in terms of leveling up. Next question, Gamer27 says, Is it fine to jump into the story now, or do I need to watch the previous episodes? Gamer27, you don't have to watch the previous episodes. All that you need to know is at the moment the party has arrived at the abandoned mansion. There's some strange stuff going on with the statue. It seems to be emitting necrotic energy. The souls of undead creatures of the sea can be seen swimming in this. That's coming from a statue that's in the gardens outside of the mansion. And there's a whole lot of character backstory stuff that's going on, but you don't need to have watched that in order for you to enjoy today's show. We've got some very powerful, very strong role players, I think, in my opinion. And yes, we are en route to the first dungeon crawl, if you like, of today's session. And what that brings me to, let's go back to that battle plan there. Someone's asking for that. So when we bring that up, you'll see that we need to wrap up today's Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh. So I need to get them through that mansion. Now, as it's written in the book, it is a proper dungeon crawl. It's really old school. When I was reading this, it just took me straight back to the red box of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, 1994, 93, somewhere around there, 1993, where there's chimneys that have got secret bricks in them, and there's a bit of gold behind them, and there's a bit of a this, and there's a bit of a that, and you know, there's this real sense that each room needs to be thoroughly explored and unpacked. I kind of feel like it literally is a time warp back to the 80s, which is when this adventure was written. I have got all of that stuff preloaded because we're using Fantasy Grounds. When you buy the Ghost of Saltmarsh module in Fantasy Grounds, you get all of the maps pre-pinned, pre-laid out with all the treasure, and then the encounters are all pre-built for you. So you can literally just run the game straight as is. I had the maps made for me by Dungeon Fog. We went in, I spoke with the map maker. We used the map that Dungeons and Dragons supplied as a basis, and then we adjusted it ever so slightly. The main thing that we adjusted was the underground section. We broke it into 2 separate layers rather than 1 layer. We did that because we felt that the party is not very stealthy. And by breaking it into 2 layers, it splits the monsters over 2 layers rather than having them all on the same layer, which would have caused a major issue in terms of crowd control if we're running the game as written. All of the treasure and stuff that they're supposed to go through, they had originally 2 episodes for the Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh to explore and do all of that kind of stuff. I'm cutting that out because I need to make up time. I need to get us moving forward to the Lizard Lines, which is the adventure Danger at Dunwater Bay, or Danger at Dunwater it's called. I need to get there. So what I realized was that the party has started to get this artifact which allows them to see the black tide in action. But I need to get them to the Lizard Alliance, and I need to buy them more time because they have a timer. They have 24 hours in which to make a decision to blow up the human ship in harbor on behalf of GOBLIN Primewater, the evil slaver who's in town, or to not do that and run the risk of being assassinated by his cronies. I need to buy them a little bit more of time on that decision as well because it isn't integral to the plot. It's a side adventure, it's a side plot, it's a character backstory plot. So what I thought was, well, I need to get them to the lizard folk somehow, and there are several links that can happen as a result of the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh adventure, but those happen right at the end and could possibly take much more than 2 hours to get to. So I have cut all of that out. You're still going to see the encounter with the bandits and the undead necromancer that's in that space, but a lot of the other stuff has been removed, been trimmed down, and I put the lizard folk in there to give a much more direct link to the danger at Dunwater Bay. So I'm contracting the amount of time, I'm reducing the number of logical steps that the player characters would have to go through in order to get to danger at Dunwater. I'm now putting it all into one space. And I think that what this does is I've been pondering for the last week, how do I do this? How do I sandwich them together? And by going back and looking at the material and going, okay, well, why are the adventures written that they need to go to the lizard folk in the first place? Because it's part of a chain of events that leads to the climax. Okay, great. What if the lizard folk were more proactive? What if they were trying to solve this problem rather than in the adventures as written, they're smugglers and they're just trying to arm themselves in the hope of a valiant defiance? But what if we turned it on its head? What if we said, no, the lizard folk are not that arrogant to assume that they can fight off this evil themselves? What if the lizard folk are here and they're trying to assemble something? What can they be doing here? And then I realized, well, hang on a moment. We've given this magical item to Indigo, which allows her to see the black tide. What if that was part of a device that the lizard folk know about, and they're here trying to find the piece that Indigo has? If they then find the piece that Indigo has, because Indigo has it and they offer it up, then they can all travel back to the lizard folk territories and discover more information there with the Queen. We can start the danger of Dunwater, where that unfolds. So we can then move very, very quickly into our next adventure sequence, which is the Lizard Alliance. So when we look at that, you can see that we've got 2 episodes for, wrong side. We've got 2 episodes for Lizard Alliance. If I can speed things up, combine that a little bit with the aquatic adventures and with the episode number 4 and getting stuff, we can combine that together. They're building this device. I'm still on track in terms of my bigger plan. I've still got time to do some stuff, to go and explore some territories and things. So that's what I love about having this kind of plot outline, where you haven't sat down and in minutia planned everything. It gives you that agility so that you can move around and manipulate and come back to time. By also having this master plot, it keeps you from losing focus and from wandering off and not paying attention to your central story. So there we are. Let me go back to some more questions. This is the 5th session. Yes, Serpent Blight. This is the fish session. The 5th session. Puns abound. Pirate Knight 1. Will their backstory conclude to making them part of Saltmarsh? Well, I think that the crew have got little tidbits that have linked them to Saltmarsh already. I think that by the time they conclude this whole thing, yes, they will be part of Saltmarsh, assuming they conclude it in a heroic way. They could just be cowards and flee, but if they do it in a heroic way, yes, they will become part of Saltmarsh. They will be granted territory within Saltmarsh, because if this campaign was to run longer, I would want to build my PCs into the town, and the easiest way to do that would be to give them, oh, well, take the mansion on the hill because you earned it, or do this or do that. So they then become locked down to the location, and then we can explore out from there and look and see and do everything that we like to do there. I'm going to steal the mouse very quickly from the OBS engine. I want to just show you what we can in theory do once we I don't want to say finished Saltmarsh, but once we have, in theory, once we've finished the campaign. And I don't know why we were stuttering because I'm opening up Chrome, but I think it's important. So bear with me here. I'm just going to open up this map. Hopefully it'll come right. So we have this map. Is it bad for everybody, or is it just bad for me? That's the wrong map. He opened up the wrong map. Sorry. This is the right map. Okay. It's busy opening. So we have this amazing territory that we can explore for many, 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 many more campaigns. And again, one of the things we could do is we could go and look at the rest of the content from Ghosts of Saltmarsh, where we can then drop in all those adventures and things. So let's just go to that. We got that map behind me now. You can see, I mean, Saltmarsh is just one little pin in a much bigger space. Much, much, much bigger space. So yeah, we can go pretty much where we like. Any more questions? The Real Taco Turtle says, do you try to time box each session to one of your goals, or do you just let them play through the story at their pace? The Real Taco Turtle, because we're putting on a show for you guys to watch, I do try to bring things in to a specific time frame. So within a single session, it's nice to work through one of the plans in the plot. This doesn't happen because players are players and they want to explore their story, and we as dungeon masters need to give them that leeway. Our responsibility, I feel, as a dungeon master is to control your time. And that means to decide what is important in terms of the pacing, in terms of the story, in terms of the adventure, to explore. And so you give it more time, and what is not important, what can be dropped, what can be delayed, what can be contracted. Does the story suffer from it? If the players no longer have to explore the entire mansion of the sinister secrets of Saltmarsh, is that going to make the story better or worse? To be perfectly honest with you, reducing the amount of time spent in that mansion is going to be better, because the story is going to move forward, and there isn't going to be this long period of exploring. If you're sitting around a table and your players are thoroughly enjoying exploring the mansion and it takes you 5 sessions, but everybody's having fun, there's no reason to shorten it up and do anything about that. So you can then let it play for hours and hours and hours. I don't have that luxury. I was literally given 24 hours in total to run the game. So we have to make sure that the game runs in that time frame. I also feel that that time pressure does keep you as the game master on track. Icecal Gamer says, last session, did it end with the top floor of the mansion exploding, or did I miss one session? No, the end of episode 4 was one of the walls exploding with a human body being thrown onto the ground and a lizard folk standing in the wrecked remains looking down at the party. I threw that in at the last moment because I realized I needed to get the lizard folk involved in the story and I needed to move forward, and that was the only way that I could possibly do that, was to have the lizard folk there already. I then needed to figure out why they were there, but I had a whole week within which to do that, and I think it kind of worked out. Next question from M. Danica 13. How did you develop the campaign's specific races? Specific races for the PCs. When I got the book Ghosts of Saltmarsh, it's a wonderful book. It's filled with all kinds of stuff. One of the things that it is not filled with is aquatic races. And the book has never set out to be the underwater book. It is the Saltmarsh book. So it's not expected. The concept of the races came about because I was looking at it and I was saying, you know, we can do aquatic stuff, we can do underwater stuff. And when you think pirates and ship battles and that sort of thing, why don't we do something of an aquatic adventure? So I then proposed to the players, hey, I've got these races in mind. We've got aquatic elves. They've been around for a long time in Dungeons and Dragons, 2nd edition, that sort of thing. So they've been around, but they haven't really been looked at too much. Then we've got merfolk, which are in the monsters manual, but they're very, very, very weak little entry-level monsters for underwater adventures. What else would we have down there? And it was at that point that the one player, Kaora, said, well, he'd like to play a kobold. And I went, well, I love the idea of monster races, as they call them, so why not? But why not a seabold, which is an aquatic kobold? And we went, okay, cool. Well, let's develop it. Let's flesh it out, and let's flesh out the merfolk and the aquatic elves. And then I added in a 4th race. Well, the next race was the Sharkan, which was a shark race, and that Michael Kesevan, who plays Jagsy, he helped me develop. So it really was a collaborative effort, which is what I like. I like the players to collaborate with me to help create the world. It makes them buy into the entire concept better. It also makes them feel as if they're part of the as if they're contributing on a different scale and a different level. So yeah, it all kind of came together. The links, I think the links will be shared in chat to the write-up for the races, not the stats. Those will be coming out in a supplement that I'll be releasing at the end of July, hopefully, if you want those specific stats. But a lot of the stats now exist in all of the supplements that have been released, Volo's Guide and those kinds of things. Right. Arkwriter says, how do you determine the distances between 2 points on your maps? Homebrew or otherwise? I recently tried so by establishing an equator and latitude degrees, 1 degree north-south on the world, roughly the same size as Earth, equals about 11. You certainly can do that. In my world, it's a block, and the block is about 50 or 60 miles, and it's about 3 days travel or 2 days travel. Most of the time, we move at the speed of plot. So if you really want to slog it out mile by mile by mile, you can, absolutely. But the moment you sit down and you start spending more than 30 seconds telling your players how long it's going to take to get from point A to point B, I think you're missing the point. Unless you are running a simulationist game where it is about survival in the wild and overcoming every single mile, I would whitewash it and say it's going to take you 2.5 days. Right, let's do a travel montage, let's do some rolls. Maybe there's an encounter if you so choose. If you want to extend your gameplay, you add an encounter. If you don't have an encounter, you just move straight forward. So that's how I do it. Scary Crazy Butter Knife says, are there any races from the PHB that work differently or aren't how you'd expect in Greyhawk as opposed to Toral? I use my own setting. So my races are designed for my space. I don't use races from the other books or from the other worlds as that matter. They are all custom for me. Otherwise, I think we only have one human and the rest are all custom races. So there isn't much to compare there. Tony Nom 7 says, question, maybe silly, do you play in a homebrew world or is it one of the no, it's homebrew. I always play in homebrew worlds for a few reasons. One, my players don't know the settings necessarily. They don't know Greyhawk or Eberron or Faerun and that sort of thing. I don't know those settings either. I grew up where we didn't have access to lots of those books and things. We had the basic rules and that was it. So we made up our own worlds, and since then I've been addicted to making my own worlds. I like the settings that other people come up with, but for me, part of the joy of being a dungeon master is creating your own worlds and your own homebrew worlds and things like that. Next question. Bina UK. Does Saltmarsh and the Ghost of Saltmarsh build on the version of Saltmarsh from the 3.5 DMG2, or was that version forgotten about? I wish I could tell you yes or no. As far as I understand it, they have constantly been building upon. So the first adventure, The Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, was written in 1983 for the original Dungeons and Dragons. I think it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons by that stage. And from what I can tell, it is a transcription of that adventure from the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons rule to 5th edition, with very little change in between. There's very little monkeying around with those kinds of stories and things. So I stand to be corrected, but I believe that it is a continuation. In much the same way that Ravenloft and Curse of Strahd and Barovia have remained similar-esque in terms of how they've been designed and how they've worked. So yes, there we go. I noticed that between episode 1 and 2, Victor Salt's class was changed from rogue to fighter, says Ackwriter. Why? Well, the very long and short of it, I screwed up as the preparer of the slides. When I was making the templates for the characters, I was copying the previous template that I had used. And when I had made the templates, I had put just rogue for everybody, as a matter of fact. Players were still busy determining their class and that sort of thing, so they were temporary placeholders. When I finished making the templates, I popped them up, we put them into the first show, and as it was playing, I realized it's wrong. So if you watch episode 1, and I think even episode 2, there were not quite a few, I think there were 3 on all of the character sheets. There were 3 mistakes. Class was one of them for Salt. He has always been a fighter. And then the other one was Jaggedjaw's values. The pluses were incorrect. It was literally just finger trouble on my behalf. Mistakes were made. They have subsequently been corrected. We've got a few minutes left, 4 minutes left. If there's any other questions, drop them in now. Otherwise, I'm going to remind you, go and check out www.greatgamemaster.com, where you can find the treasure hunt for Mama Sarduk's treasure. The prizes that are being given away are absolutely amazing. We've got, let me hold them up for you. Oh, it's heavy. We've got this wonderful, wonderful complete package from Dungeons and Dragons. All you need, PHB, Monsters Manual, Dungeon Master's Guide, plus the screen, plus these beautiful, and they kind of key out sometimes, so I'm just going to keep moving it around so you can get a full view. The beautiful alternative cover for Ghosts of Saltmarsh is there for as part of the giveaway. We've got prizes from worldanvil.com. World Anvil, one of our great sponsors. Dungeonfog.com is giving us stuff. Fantasy Grounds is giving us an ultimate license as part of that treasure as well. We're giving away supplemental books that we write for Great GM. And even Nerdarchy, our good friends over at Nerdarchy, they're supplying things for us as well. So just so much stuff is in that treasure, Mama Sarduk's treasure. There's a video that's now been made on how you use the clues in the show to figure out where the treasure is. So all of that is in that treasure. Go and have a look at it, a look out for it. Next question, Oleoclaw says, how do you keep yourself from being overwhelmed or bogged down in details when world building? On my YouTube channel, How to Be a Great GM, there's a series called Campaign Creator. I don't know what episode we're on now, 22 or 23. I think we stopped numbering them after a while. That Campaign Creator is a walkthrough from concept of campaign right the way through to running the adventures, running session 0, running first session, world building, developing transportation, developing myths, developing heroes. It's a complete walkthrough of the entire process so that you don't get overwhelmed, because it can be overwhelming when you're trying to homebrew your space. Last question here, because we're running out of time. Was the Snicked NPC named for Dave's Oasis character? He wasn't. It was, well, he might have been. He might have been. The name came from the suggestion box for NPCs that, again, you go onto the onto the website, you can submit your NPCs. And that name was just one that had been put forward. So maybe Dave put it forward. Maybe it was. I don't know. I hope it wasn't, because I like Snicked in the Oasis game, which is Save or Dice, not this Snicked. He was a bit nasty. Anyway, show's about to begin. So sit back, grab your coffee. 5 minutes from now, we will be exploring the sinister secrets of Saltmarsh, where I hope by the end of the episode to have the players well on their way to the lizard folk lair. Till then.
We fought them in the air, on land, and under the waves. But it wasn't enough. Brave folk banded together, united in hope and allied in goal. But it wasn't enough. The black tide brought with it an evil of terrible power. Darkness sank into the hearts of us all. For we knew, as above in the skies we lost, so on land we'd lose. And our only hope was below. But it wasn't enough. Forces unknown to us were at work, and in those dark days it found purchase wherever it touched. For our best wasn't enough. And yet, a single light burns in the dark night, and it might be enough.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Ghosts of Saltmarsh, Call of the Kraken. Full adventure ahead as our sails are filled with the winds of mystery, deception and exploding walls containing human corpses. At least that's where we were last time. Very quickly, I'm going to spin around the screens here. We are joined by a very dapper, dashing, and beautiful Myri from Germany. How are you doing?
Oh, you actually were talking about me. I was just posing. Hi, I'm Myri. I'm from the YouTube channel Orkenspalter TV, or we've got an English branching thing, Orkkliver TV, and we do a lot of stuff about tabletop role-playing games, about pushing miniatures across the table, comics and stuff. We do a lot.
Lovely.
And I'm playing Indigo. I'm a sea elf. And usually I should be healing things, but I'm out of heals. So.
And what's Indigo currently thinking? What's she currently feeling?
Right now she's feeling slightly panicked, but still she's very concentrated on following the trail that they got here. And there's certainly something happening here. So kind of cliffhanger-ish. We know that we're in the right place. Or otherwise we stumbled across something else very dramatic and evil. So.
There we go. First mate Indigo, the ever lovely Janet. How are you doing? How's the UK?
Oh,
first mate Lahuna, not Indigo. Lahuna, I can't even read the text. See, it's crazy.
I was like, wait, did something happen when the building exploded?
Yes.
Did I lose my name?
You got demoted. Yep.
No, my rank is right, but my name has changed, which was very perturbing. So yeah, I am Janet. I am from World Anvil, which is a world-building platform and campaign manager, and I'm very excited to be playing First Mate Lahuna Pahaskarian, because I'm a mermaid, so I make noises. I figured that it would be like bubbles in the water when you were in the water and being a mermaid, which is why I've got such a weird name. And I was told that because last week, as always, I wear armor that is made of sea creatures, so barnacles and crabs and oysters and all of these things. And when I stand too close to people, it licks them. So it goes like, milem, 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 milem. Yes, exactly. The characteristic Lahuna lick. But I was mlemming last week, and people in the chat were going, what is she doing? So I just wanted to say up front, I am crazy. But in that case, it's my armor. I am playing both myself and my armor. So if I start making random blem noises, somebody is getting licked. That's what's going on.
Buy the armor. Buy the armor. Buy the armor. Very, very important there. Michael, how's Australia for you this early morning?
Oh, actually, you know what? Normally I'd say it's really, really hot, but it's not. It's been raining, it's been cold, it's been miserable because we're going into winter, and it's terrible. But yeah, g'day guys. My name's Michael. I am otherwise known as the Dead Aussie Gamer, a professional game master and role player from Australia. And in the true Australian fashion, I've decided to get inspired by the wildlife for my character, Jaggerjaw, a great white shark-inspired humanoid Sharkan, otherwise known as Jagsy, who is the bosun of the Second Chance, or what's left of her. And yeah, basically, repair ships. And as far as what Jagsy's thinking at the moment, I feel like despite, sort of rampant weasel attacks and exploding houses, all he really wants is to go back to the Carpenters Guild, go back to Nan, and just enjoy a lamb curry. I feel like that was just everything he wants in life, and now he's here, and now he's doing this, and he'll get there though.
A lamb curry would be quite nice. I think a lamb curry would be quite nice. The originator, the inspiration, the destroyer of worlds, Flick, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. So, something I noticed, or something somebody told me from last turn, and I don't know if this is true. You can confirm this because you're the GM, but isn't it true that if you take double your HP damage in a turn, it's instant death?
Not instant death. You make a system saving throw, and if you fail it, then it is instant death.
Right. Okay.
The system on Fantasy Grounds automatically does it for you. So you were making them, you just weren't aware of them.
Well, there was a rule in 5th edition, which was that the instant death rule is like you take your hit point damage after you've been
negative.
knocked out.
Yes. So you have to take a tremendous amount of damage, and then go negative to that value as well. If you want. I
feel like Flick was pretty close to that last session.
I was watching the numbers very carefully. Fantasy Grounds was busy rolling those saves, and it was like,
I
I think what Flix is probably going to be doing in this session is hiding a lot, because he's very scared.
To the members of the audience, this makes the GM happy to hear.
Mark, I feel like you're giving Guy ideas, so maybe stop.
Mwahaha.
Yeah, maybe.
How about no?
Captain of this motley crew, Jenny, how are you
Yes.
doing? How is Sweden?
I'm doing all right. Sweden is warm, terribly warm, unpleasantly warm, but I'm doing fine. I'm Jenny. I'm from Sweden, as you may have heard. I don't have anything special going on, but I'm a role player, and I have been for a very long time. And I play Victor Salt, the captain with a dark past, and an older scarred gentleman who is currently very confused, which is a state of mind that generally pisses him off. So he will most likely go from confused to quite angry very soon, because he doesn't like being confused. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. There we go. You now know who is involved in this adventure. Let's do this. So, cast your minds back to last week, where our intrepid heroes are standing in a forlorn and forgotten garden with but the skeletons of old walls, speaking of ancient days of grandeur. Large trees provide a gloomy shade that hangs over the entire structure, and the corpses of several giant weasels lie dead at the feet of our heroes. As they were about to enter into this strange and abandoned place, a trap or two were triggered by our intrepid heroes, causing them pause for thought. Pause long enough for a body of a human to be thrown through the wall of the first floor of the structure onto the ground in front of them, and the creature throwing the body through the wall, causing the explosion, was none other than a lizard man who looked down at the party and then disappeared into the bowels of the structure. And that is where our story picks up, as the crew of the Second Chance are standing outside the mansion that has been abandoned on the hill. And that is where we pick up. What are you doing?
Fly?
I
I
think
wouldn't
it's a
call it
cultural
flying.
thing.
Yeah, maybe.
I
No,
call
if
it
they are
more
not wizards,
flat.
they don't fly.
Is he moving, the dude that hit the decks?
No, he is quite dead.
Quite
Oh.
historically dead?
Give me a medicine check as you move over to the corpse.
I move over to the corpse, walking carefully because I don't want to be stabbed by flying stabby things, because that's been a trend.
Right.
Medicine begins with an M. There we go. I poke him a bit with my foot.
You poke him a bit with your foot. What was your medicine check? A 9. Yes, he is dead. It looks like that case of death is spreading. Definitely
He
dead
died
by
of-
death.
Death, I think. How much is falling off?
How much
Is-
is falling off?
Of him, it's falling off him.
Not a lot. Not a lot. Most of
Alright.
it's just broken and snapped and bruised because of being thrown through a wall.
Definite case of death by death.
Death.
Yeah.
Death by death.
Death by death. That's what we're saying
Looking
here.
at this individual, do I recognize the person or the clothes or the manner of dress?
As a
Anything
matter of
like that?
fact, the more you look at this miserable cretin, the more you realize that you do. The face is a little bit bruised and broken from what you remember, but this person is without a doubt someone that you would have called Niv Delmire. Niv Delmire. The K is silent. Niv Delmire definitely used to work for Gallon Prime Water, and was one of those slime bags that skulked around, stabbed people in dark alleys for a few gold or for a few copper, as a matter of fact. Just a general lowlife, but also a coward, and usually set to guard duty because he was very good at running away. So when Delmire started to run, everybody started to run because it meant that something big was coming.
Right. I probably have beaten him quite a few times in my past. I sort of go over and I sort of turn him over and I look at the face and I go, I know that guy.
Do you also know the scaly one that threw him?
Do I know the scaly one?
It was very chaotic. It was screaming from the guys from Flick who had walked into the trap. There was bricks and thumping and this green scaled thing which stuck its tongue out and then it turned and left. You didn't get a good look.
No, I'm not. This is more my type of person.
What like this type of person?
Nope.
But he's a scumbag.
We will talk some other time.
Alright, sure.
Jagsy?
Flick, alright?
What does Jagador know about lizard folk? In particular, what I want to ask is, are they well known for using explosives or that kind of material, in general? And what are their kind of traditional hunting tactics? Like, if we were to go into this house and engage in lizard folks, are they going to be the kind to set up ambushes, patrols, that kind of thing?
So, as far as you know, they come from the territories to the north, known as Qualt Axe. Big swampy sort of space. They're fairly neutral when it comes to dealing with strangers. They're very shaman-based sort of things. They swim in the water in the oceans. The Shakan, because it's close to the Shakan Reef, are in contact with them. You guys possibly have a slight animosity for one another as to who is the stronger of the two races. They have big jaws, you have big jaws, they like to eat things, you like to eat things. So there's a bit of a racial pride going on between the two nations, but there's never been all-out war. There has been some trade, as a matter of fact. The lizard folk tend to keep to the surface, the Shakan can tend to keep to the underwaters. And yes, there has been very little from them over the past. You know that they're ruled by queens. There are multiple queens that rule large territories within the Qualt Axe and the Ikawa swamps. But that's it. That's pretty much all you know. In terms of explosives, doesn't seem their style. Although, to be absolutely honest with you, it wasn't a fiery explosion. It was
concussive explosion.
It was concussive, yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't Plan 4. It
No.
was just somebody coming through a wall.
Yes.
Jagador will relay that to the captain. Captain, from what I know about the lizard folk, it seems very strange that they'd be all the way down this way from their territory just to blow some street thug out of a window of an abandoned house. I think we might need to take a little bit extra care when we go through. They don't mess around, these folk. They're pretty tough and burly, stout and warrior-esque. Although, there's nothing to say that we couldn't handle.
Well, with Niv here, I'm a little worried that this is some kind of primal operation, but I suppose we'll figure it out once we get inside.
Jagador will go up to the front door and inspect it for traps.
Right. Let me share the map with you in case you don't have it shared. So it is now shared. You can move yourself to where you're going.
Where was the explosion?
First floor, so one floor above you, and to the right-hand side of the building.
How far up is it?
It's about 14 foot up.
Okay.
Jagsy, you head over to the front door. It's hanging on its hinges. Give me a perception check, if you please.
Kia. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Jagador is going to place two very large, meaty hands on the ajar door and just rip it from its hinges. Just like pull it off the rest of the way.
Rotten wood comes away with nary a resistance. Lahuna, you step up to that window And looking through, you can see a little bit more into the structure. You see a hallway with a set of stairs ascending up into darkness. There's bits of rubble and debris on the floor. Some spider webs. It looks as if it's completely unused. There's also a corridor leading off to the left. A corridor leading directly away where you can see some more doors and things. And then it looks like there might be something behind the stairwell, but you're not entirely sure. It looks completely abandoned. It doesn't look as if anybody is living here whatsoever. And the smell is that sort of old rotting wood, abandoned wood. Give me a perception check, however.
I'd like to go through Niv's pockets as well while they're mucking about with the door.
Absolutely, absolutely. So whilst Luna's giving me a perception check, you are going through Niv's pockets. The curious thing about Niv's pockets is that it contains 7 copper pieces, copper coins, and a note crumpled up. It looks as if it's been opened and closed many, many times.
I hand it over to Indigo, pretending to keep looking in the body. I'm going to check. Does he have a knife on him? Because he seems like the type to have a knife on him.
He does indeed. He has a rather jagged knife. It's known as a bleeder. And the reason for it is it has serrations on the top of it, so once you stick it in, when you pull it out, it rips a wound rather than cutting a wound. A very, very, very savage weapon. It is relatively well made, as a matter of fact. Rather unusual for a scumbag like Niv to have. But, yeah, quite well balanced. The handle has got some kind of bone inlay, and the blade itself doesn't seem to be tarnished.
It's pretty nice. Flick. Here. I toss it to Flick.
You toss it to Flick. Flick, give me a reflex saving throw, please. Dexterity saving throw.
What?
And this is how I lost my second toe,
Oh no!
I assume.
I sort of assumed there was a sheath involved somehow, but no,
it
that
was
was
just
for
the
me.
blade you were
That was
looking
my
at
bad.
as you chuck it over to Flick. You watch as you chuck it at Flick. The blade rises up into the air, describing a natural arc, as gravity and physics might describe. However, as soon as it gets to its azimuth, as soon as it gets to the top of that arc, it suddenly points directly at Flick and then shoots forward. Please would you roll 1d4 for me, Captain
I
Salt?
just healed him!
I'm sorry.
Flick, you take 6 points of damage as this blade buries itself deep within and between your 3rd and 4th rib.
Flick, no!
I'm unconscious.
You watch as this dagger punches through little Flick's body, and
Saul just looks in a horror, in just absolute like, what have I done?
Well, Indigo looks on in horror and then at Sword like, what have you done?
Help him, please. I'm sorry.
I have no more magic, but I will try to help him.
Oh God.
I move over to Flick and
Oh, hell will save him, please. I'm so sorry.
give me a medicine check.
Whew. You know what? I think I still have my inspiration.
You do?
I think so, yeah. Let me look it up.
You can use it afterwards to re-roll, right?
Yeah.
No,
Or you can add a d6 or d8 or whatever it is. I'm happy for you to re-roll. It's up to you. You can choose. Or you can have advantage.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I take advantage.
All right?
I don't want Flick to die.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There we go. Thank goodness you went with advantage. You got
yeah.
a dirty 20. You are stabilized, Flick, and restored to 1 hit point. As you very slowly wake up. Myri, you notice that in order to remove the blade, when you pulled it out, it created a much bigger wound. And if you hadn't been attending to him, if you had just pulled it out, it quite possibly would have done more damage.
Yes. So right now, Indigo is producing needles and other pointy and very unfriendly looking equipment from her pouches and among some hidden compartments on her cloak, and tries to stitch up Flick.
Oh, God, Flick, I am so sorry. Are you all right? I mean, you're not all right, obviously, but I'm so sorry. I did not mean to.
Just gonna reach out to Indigo with just the trembling little clawed hand.
Oh, no.
Just go.
If I die,
Yes.
you can have my shiny things.
Oh.
Immediately, your familiar wraps its tentacles around your face, Flick, protectively, and just hugs tight. It doesn't want you to die.
You are not going to die, little dragon.
I nearly did.
Yes, you keep doing that.
Look, there's a big.
I'm so sorry, Flick. I'm just not going to touch anything.
It
ever
did
again.
look like that knife moved with far more speed.
I didn't. I thought I threw it like it.
Oh, come on, suck it up, Blue Tongue. We got stuff to do. Stand
I
up.
don't want it. Somebody else can
Come on.
have it.
No, enough of your whining. Come on.
Oh,
Myra, is Indigo keeping the dagger, or are you leaving it on the floor? Is Flick grabbing the dagger?
Indigo is wrapping the dagger into bits that she's getting off her cloak that looks like it's made out of seaweed. So she just rips bits of it off and wraps the dagger in it.
Very well.
And then makes just a warding sign. That's simply superstition, but she believes that it's going to keep any curses in there.
Very well. And then store it in your backpack?
Yes.
All right. Jagsy, Lahuna, you standing looking into the space. As I said, it's very empty. It smells musty. It smells old, and it smells abandoned.
I'm gonna take. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say I rolled a 4 on my perception check,
Yes.
so I'm assuming that I got dust in my eye and have been sneezing this whole time, and so I'm not fully aware of the carnage that's been going on behind me.
Yes.
Thanks, Victor, by the way.
With Jaggedjaw's 6, as soon as he opened the door and tried to look in, he just heard the nonsense that happened with Flick, turned around and hasn't been paying any attention to what's happening inside.
Correct.
But I'm gonna take the remainder of the rotted wood door, whatever's still attached, and I'm gonna basically step in using it kind of as like this makeshift throwaway breakaway shield kind of thing.
Not a problem.
As,
Move yourself
as a-
into the room as you make your way there. I just realized, Flick, I need to update your hit points, or lack thereof.
I'm sorry.
I see you took a downgrade.
Unexpectedly magic item. That.
Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
Apart from wrapped
I
in
know what it
seaweed
is.
and put in a backpack.
The Australian knows what it is. It's a knife.
That's a knife.
Well, I'm glad we have you on the team. Right, Jagsy, you start to walk in. Your boots clank over ancient tiles. The tiles have a weird, hard sound with all of the mush and the decay around you. You don't really expect it, but there's a definite sort of clink, clink as you step onto these very expensive tiles. Sadly, most of them are cracked and damaged and forgotten about. However, in the corners, you can see that the floor has sagged and that there's definitely a structure or space underneath this room, as well as obviously the stairs that lead up to the first floor.
But there's nothing immediately around us.
No, just empty space.
All right. I yell back. Looks clear, Captain. And I'll take a few more steps in.
Lahuna, what are you doing?
First of all, I'm covering my ear because Jagsy just yelled in it.
I just spoke.
Dude! Shh. We don't want Mr. Scaly Pants to come. I look down at my scaly legs. present company accepted, to come and bust our ass before we've got in here, right? Just shh, shh, shh. And I come in behind him. I'm looking around at all of these, like, the signs of these land crabs that tend to be in old buildings, like the webs everywhere.
There are plenty of them. None of them seem to be disturbed at all.
It's interesting, but I'm not seeing the land crabs themselves. I'm just saying
there are spiders all over the place, but they vary in size. None of them seem to be much bigger than your hand.
Okay, so nothing like dinner sized. That's cool.
Dinner sized.
Yes, some people think that that's a small spider. Some people think that's a giant nope, burn down the entire building spider. It's perspective, really. But yes, that's what you're seeing.
This place is abandoned for a reason.
It is abandoned, yes. Salt, Indigo, Flick, you're outside. The two first officer and bosun have gone inside.
So what did that note say?
Oh, the note. I
Yes,
put it
sorry.
aside when I healed Flick.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
I thought was the priority.
Okay. Please don't throw knives at me again.
I won't. I promise.
Look what you did. It really hurts.
I know, Flick. I am so sorry. Flick, please. Oh no, please don't cry. Please don't cry. Oh no. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, please.
It's okay. It's fine.
Is it fine?
It is not fine.
No, I know.
Raise.
You can have my pay for this month.
Yay! It's all better.
All right, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Are you looking at the note, Indigo?
Yes, I'm looking at the note.
The note seems to be a set of timings. It says 7th, 7H, 7th horn, possibly, could mean. Salt, that's what that means to you. You know, that's shorthand in Saltmarsh for 7th horn. And then there's a series of timings. Most of it, it's like 7H, move rocks. 8H, more weasels. 12H, paint weasels. 7H, make dinner from town. 12H, restock pit. It continues for a while, and there's dates next to it. These are dates preceding 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, pretty much the same thing. And then today, there was one listed for about an hour ago, roughly, which said, go to town, talk, and then he scratched out the latest one, which was receive barrels. That's now been scrubbed out.
Very orderly.
Really? From what I remember of Niv, it was not the orderly type of person, or the writing down type of person.
Then maybe he was the stupid kind of person who needs to write down everything. What is it, Flick?
Can I have a look?
Yeah, sure.
It says pit.
Yes, pit.
It says pit, yes.
That doesn't sound very good.
No, pits usually are not good. Look, let's
Our
get
house might
inside.
be booby trapped.
Sure.
It's going to be trapped, but Jagger the ever hungry is going first. He's going to notice the traps.
Yes, it'll be fine. Look, let's just get inside so we can not be out here anymore.
Lahuna, you and Jagsy hear... It's a difficult sound to describe. It vaguely sounds like very mushy wood ripping, very loud hissing, an even louder thump, and then a gurgling liquidy sound splashing out, coming from directly in front of you down the little corridor to your north. And then there's a little bit of thumping sounds, some rattling sounds, and then it goes quiet.
Sounds a bit like Chul music.
See that they have a nope corridor in this house.
There is a general theme of nope within this space, isn't there?
Yep.
Alright.
Yep.
Sorry, just for clarification.
Yep.
Is it the corridor that is directly in front of us heading to the north?
Correct.
Or is it the northern corridor heading... Yeah, okay, so it's that one.
Straight up from you.
If we didn't go that way,
I'm thinking that too. Well, it depends on whether or not we want to go upstairs and go say hello to our scaly friend, or if we want to make sure that nothing's going to come up behind us by clearing the bottom floor. It's on you, Captain, as to which one you want us to start doing now.
are you yelling out the door?
Yes.
I'm gonna
Speaking
come
out
heading
the door.
inside.
Not yelling, I just have a big mouth.
Victor looks he looks terrible. He's pale. He looks so guilt-ridden. It's insane. What do I
That's your
say?
Tuesday face. So
Yes, Tuesday face. Yes.
Don't worry. If I had $1 for every time I, stabbed Flick.
Maybe we wouldn't be in debt. All right. Yes, I get it. Look, why don't you go check upstairs and I'll make sure nothing follows behind you. I can check some of the side corridors down here.
Aye,
Yeah.
Captain.
that way are where the scary noises are coming from, says Lahuna,
Alright.
pointing north.
There are no sounds now.
No, but there were.
I believe you. I'm just gonna stick around here.
Flick, where are you going?
Nowhere.
You're just with Indigo?
Flick is
Helping Flick up.
almost like hugging Indigo's leg,
Okay.
holding onto the seaweed, going,
And Indigo very slowly moves towards the building.
I almost feel like she's dragging this weight.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
You make your way up onto the steps. You see this. So, Jaggerjaw, you're going up the stairs?
Yep. I'm going to be doing so by testing out the weight of the stairs. Being a Shah Khan who has had some experience with landfolk structures, staircases are not exactly Shah Khan accessible all the time. Least of all, Shah Khan carrying anchors accessible. So I'm going to put a lot of weight on a step before I proceed upwards. This is
Gotcha.
my version of checking for traps.
Give me an investigate check as you start to make your way up the stairs. There is creaking, and you swear the entire staircase is twisting to the side. But you think that that's a normal thing. These are what they should do. So you
Yep.
thump up the stairs. And you make it to halfway. Your foot punches through the wooden beam. But it's apart from that, it's so old. It's not splinters. It's more like shreds of old newspaper. You continue up. Lahuna, you watching the staircase sway and creak and drop bits and pieces as you are heading. Are you following him? Or are you just standing back
Oh,
watching?
I'm waiting till he gets to the top, and I can run if necessary. But
All right.
but I'm not gonna meet the floor by way of gravity. I'm not interested in that as the end of this day.
Right, you are. You get to the upper floor and you see Jagsy has made it. Although you do see the floor that he's standing on, there's a bit of a sag.
Oh no.
You're right
That's
up there,
holy.
buddy. You all good?
Looks clear.
Please don't hurt yourself.
I sort of bounce a little bit.
The floor kind of wobbles. Bits of plaster fall down into this hall where you guys are as it cakes off of the ceiling.
Well, it looks like it's a plan for kind of day today.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. No
You go up the
jumping.
stairs as well.
Fall again.
You go up the stairs. There's rocking and wobbling, less so than when the Shah Khan went up. And so the two of you have gone up. Is anyone else joining them? Or are you three staying down here?
I'm going to put on my chainmail at this point because I don't usually wear it when I'm on a
Sure
ship.
thing. You're
But
busy
I'm gonna
pulling
put it on now.
chainmail. Indigo, you
Indigo
wanna go upstairs?
follows and takes the stairs very gingerly, one by one, testing them with her bare feet.
Yes, you are testing them with your bare feet. I want you to give me a survival check, if you please.
Oh yeah, that's Surely something I'm really good at. I'm okay. That is.
Yeah, you're okay. The stairs, the wood is so old it doesn't even feel like wood anymore. It almost feels like you're stepping on the flesh of a slightly overripe peach. It's got that give to it. It's slightly furry. It's slightly moist. It's
like
tempting,
sea
but-
cucumber.
Yes.
Walking with sea cucumbers, like at home. I like it.
Flick, you're gonna try and get this staircase of fruit and sea cucumbers.
Yeah.
Alright.
Flick is also very gingerly following Indigo.
Sure. Flick could jump up and down in the staircase, wouldn't even moan. But yes, you are gingerly trying to follow in Indigo's footsteps. Are you guys going to wait for Salt to finish putting his chainmail on, or are you just continuing to explore? You can hear up here, all four of you, because you all go up, you can hear it sounds as if there is someone down a passageway banging a desk drawer or a book or just being busy. It doesn't sound aggressive, it just sounds like someone's going about their business.
Jaggerjaw is going to I'm not going to go all the way into the corridors and stuff like that, but I am going to get off the stairs onto the second landing.
Ditto Lahuna, because I don't think these stairs can take the weight of 4 people. Honestly, I'm surprised that we're not already on the floor.
There you go. You are overlooking that area. I must just do this so that you guys don't see anything much. I will share this with you shortly. So you have gone up to the second floor. Salt is on his own at the bottom, which is not a problem. I'm going to just move you guys up here. So...
Ooh, someone dropped a flick on me.
It's fine, he's not heavy.
No.
Right, so I'm going to share the map
He's
with you.
flicking cute is what he is.
That's what you're seeing. Little corridor branching off to the left, corridor branching off to the right, and the corridor continues down towards what looks to be the end of the house, further down here. But otherwise, that's what you are seeing, and that noise is coming from the corridor to directly in front of you. The corridor does extend down behind you as well. You can see various old windows letting in some vague light, and then it terminates at the far end with a door.
So the sounds of the banging is coming from directly in front of us. Is
Yes,
that the same direction the explosion came from?
The explosion came, if you are facing towards the sound, the explosion came from your right-hand side.
Okay. Yep, I'll hold position here and wait for Victor.
I'll be alright. Just go ahead. I'll just make sure nobody follows you.
I think Victor needs time alone.
Okay. I'll edge slowly again, just being cautious. Checking the ground for support, checking for traps and whatnot. As I come to the edge of a wall, Jagsy will sort of lean forward so that all that sticks out is just this shark head. As he kind of, because his eyes are kind of on the side, he kind of like looks. Yeah. Dun dun.
You look down this corridor. It looks as if it's a corridor that just leads blindly to a window at the far end that looks out over the gardens that you walked in from. You can see down here as well. Sorry, this is a double-story, a double-volume space, I should say. Flicker's down below. Salt is down below, sorry. So yeah, that's what you're seeing.
All right, onward to the next one.
Okay, again, another corridor leading off. This one seems to have more corridors off of it. But yes, there's a space beyond that you can't really see too much of.
Okay.
Thumping sound continues directly ahead.
From the door. I will move to one side of it, and I will sort of gesture for Lahuna to get him to the other side of the door.
Sure thing.
I've got you back, buddy. Lahuna pulls her sword.
Sorry, Lahuna. Yeah?
Lahuna pulls her sword, which is I didn't describe it properly before. It's actually made from the tooth of a megalodon. So a giant prehistoric shark. It's been handed down in my family a lot. It's not a special sword, it just looks nice.
It's a cool sword. It is a cool
It's pretty
sword.
cool. I'm fond of it. Oh, it's the handle is wrapped in human hair. from a different time.
Human or mermaid hair?
Human hair.
Oh.
We don't talk about what the sheath is made of, but it may or may not be human skin. It's some kind of leather.
Tell me it's head hair at least.
From a different time. Well, it's not curly. Not curly hair. I can tell you that much.
As I desperately try and save the PG rating of the show, we open as Jagsy, you and Laguna are standing in front of this door. There is a banging sound coming from within.
Okay. Jagsy will sort of hold his very heavy anchor in one hand and just signal. And then on the one, we'll shoulder check the door to try and get in.
Move yourself in. My God! Ah! The sound just screams out across the room.
It's an opera singer.
Whoa!
And continues to scream and scream and scream. Ah! No! Help! 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 Help!
Shut it!
You say to an empty room, there's a few chairs covered in sheets, there's an old rotting carpet, and a pile of rubbish at the window side. No! Leave me alone! Go away! I'm dead and I hate it! Ooh.
I'm gonna lift the couch that's next to me and sort of throw it against the wall.
Half of it rips up because it's rotten away.
Anyone behind it?
Nope.
Hello?
I'm just like,
Give me an Arcana check, if you please, Mr. Flick.
Yep.
Hi.
Thought about that.
No, leave me alone, please. Oh, I'm a ghost. Oh, it's terrible out here. Oh, no. Go. It's just continuing on and on and on.
I sense a very negative presence in this room.
Indigo?
Yes! It's called Jiggajaw.
Brilliant deduction.
He's a little sunshine.
Good.
I'm slowly moving into the room. Is this an illusion or is there actually a ghost?
He's a
here?
ghost.
If it's a ghost, it could talk to us in
Yep,
an
definitely
indoor voice.
Jaggerjaw's gonna move over to what I assume is a chest of drawers.
Yeah, an old rotten chest of drawers.
From here, where is the clattering noise coming from?
The chest of drawers.
From here?
Yeah, as is the screaming. No, intruders! Oh dear, leave us alone, let the dead rest in peace! There appears to be a coconut inside this cabinet.
I pick up the coconut.
Is there a sound of horses in the room?
No, there isn't, but the coconut definitely seems to be the source of the sound.
Is
I
this
shake
a
the
haunted coconut?
What?
As you shake it,
No, don't
stops.
shake it. Oh, maybe do shake it. All right.
I put the coconut
Hello,
in my mouth.
coconut. Laguna runs over to the coconut and waves at it. Hello. I have questions.
You
Can
put
I
the
roll a
coconut in your
charm?
mouth.
Can I charm the coconut?
Jagsy has the coconut in his mouth.
Oh,
What?
I'm not charming a coconut in his mouth.
I'll take it
We're
out.
here to eat ghosts, guy. What do you mean? Why are you surprised?
Food.
No, give that here. Come here.
I'll
But-
sort of put it in his hand.
But we want to make friends with it.
It looks
Yeah.
like a coconut that someone has written in white paint on the one side. G-O-S-T.
It's a ghost.
Yep, the ghost of Saltmarsh.
Maybe that's what they're calling coconuts in Saltmarsh. Ghosts.
No. Hello. Are you a ghost? Are you a ghost?
There is no response from the coconut. It stares at you blankly with its 3 eyes.
It's got eyes.
Well, yeah, coconut survives.
It's what you call the 3 little entry points where it attaches to the plant.
Do vegans know this?
What? What kind of creature are vegans?
Salt.
I think I've made a new friend.
Yes. So,
Whilst everyone is bonding with Gost upstairs,
yes.
you hear a sound coming from directly behind you as you are finishing putting on your chainmail. Let me just move out this map out the way so we can come back to you alone. The sound appears to be coming from the corridor directly north of you.
Right.
And it's... Oh my god. What the hell? It's a voice that you recognize quite well. Definitely, well, yes, unmistakable. There are a few Sharkans that you remember, as well as Jagsy, and this Sharkan, Gurglegut.
Oh, God.
He was used, and is used by Galen Primewater, to hide bodies.
Yes, hide. Yes, he's the pigs. I turn around and I sort of... What are you doing here?
You can't see him, you just hear him coming from down the
Oh.
corridor.
Can I turn around and look down the corridor?
Yep, this is what you're seeing on the map. It extends away from you and disappears into gloomy darkness ahead of you.
I go over there.
Sure thing. As you walk
Knowing this is a bad idea, Victor is not very smart.
Alright, you get to a bend in the corridor, so you can move yourself all the way down that corridor. You get to a bend, I'm going to move you there. Passing the 2 doors on either side, there isn't too much sound, but when you get to that door directly in front of you, does anyone... how did they find us? Says the one voice. The other voice responds, "Don't look at me." Well, alright. I think we've got them all. Best patrol the grounds. I'm certainly not going out there. No, of course not. I'll go, it's fine. You hear footsteps approaching towards you.
Do I recognize these voices?
Well, the one is Gurglegut, no doubt about
Yeah,
it. The other, not so sure.
Alright. I knock on the door.
There is a...
Well, he was going towards it anyway. I figured why not be polite.
His footsteps stop. Then a voice says, "Who is it?"
There's the ghost from the past. It's Victor
Ghost.
Salt. It's a ghost.
It's a ghost from the past.
Yes,
The
the past.
door is opened very delicately, and you are staring down the face of a ballista that's being carried by this very large Sharkan. Inside, you can see there's what looks to be the remains of a kitchen. There is detritus in the center of the floor. It's not on the map here, but there's definitely detritus on the center of the floor, and there's a lizard man lying there. He obviously fell through from the room above, and it looks as if he fell with wood sticking through him, or he was impaled on wood falling through the floor. It happened very recently because the blood is still oozing out of the corpse. This blue blood busy spilling out around the corpse. Then Gurglegut is standing holding the ballista, looking directly at you. Behind him is this tabaxi, very lithe looking individual, just busy watching, skulking in the shadows. You're not sure who that one might be.
Hello, Gutsy. Good to see you again.
I didn't think you were still alive. You are alive, right? You're not an actual ghost.
I'm alive. This has been a day of surprises for the both of us. What exactly are you doing here?
Well, we were attacked by these lizard folk. This is the last one. We've been hunting them down. What
Yeah,
are
I
you
saw
doing
one of them
here?
got Niv.
They got Niv.
Yeah, he was thrown out the front window.
Well, that will be a loss for the organization, says the tabaxi from behind the giant Sharkan.
Victor smirks and then feels bad for smirking. Right. Well, we came over here to have the roof over our heads because we're just gonna spend the night. We need somewhere to camp out. What are you doing here?
He is an idiot.
But he's dumber than I am.
Did Gellin send you here?
I'm back. I work for Gellin again.
Ah. And you're laying low. I get it. Alright. Niall. The tabaxi looks at him. Go check the grounds for any more of these lizards. I am not your pet to do as you wish.
He does have the ballista, though.
Gurglegut smiles at you and turns and looks back at Niall. Niall kind of looks at you with narrow yellow eyes and then slinks past you. Fine. And he exits through the door to your right, the one that leads out into the gardens. Gurglegut in the meantime says, well, you better come with me then. And
right. I've got some people walking around upstairs. They're not in any danger, are they?
Not unless they're heavy.
Well,
it was them who set off the alarm.
Yes.
I thought it was more lizard.
No. Are there any more of you here, or is it just you and Nio?
It's the whole operation.
What are you doing here, then?
He points at the lizard man. Well, we heard the noise, so we came looking.
Right. But what? How did you hear the noise in an abandoned mansion if you weren't already here? Why is this place trapped?
Did you get hit on the head while you were away? It happens to the best of us.
Well, once or twice, but...
He leads you to this open door here. And you can see there's a flight of stairs descending down into darkness. He starts to take them quite happily. Try not to disturb any of the cobwebs. It helps with the effect.
Actually, I should probably go tell my crew where I'm going before I go anywhere, but is this going to take long?
Do you want to lay low, or do you want to go hobnob with your crew?
A bit of both. Is this going to take long?
If we keep talking.
Alright. Make it quick. I follow him.
Okie dokes. You disappear down into the darkness. Back upstairs, the coconut is proving to be a particularly resistant prisoner and is not answering to interrogations, licking, or flattery.
I'd say it's a hard nut to crack.
This is why you shouldn't split the party, because this just gives time for people to think about things.
I'm sorry, it's on me.
Jaggerjaw, looking around, can see no viable threat up here.
Nah, just the pile of rubbish in the corner of the... Well, in the wall against the outer wall of the structure. There's debris and bits and pieces have been thrown there.
He looks at the others and says, all right, well, I think it's best we check out where that explosion came from. If we're going to find this lizard, it's probably going to be somewhere around there.
And can we maybe leave the screaming ghost thing here?
No, I've made friends with him.
I wonder what happens when we take it out of the room.
Let's find out.
Let's do it.
Alright, you all head back out into the corridor. There's some sagging as the floor takes the strain.
But this door. I want to go in here.
Ghost is quiet. Give me an insight check, Flick.
Maybe we've laid him to rest. Maybe we just pissed him off.
Maybe he's upset.
We're exorcists.
You're not convinced, but either this is just a coconut or Ghost is sulking.
I think he's sulking now. Yeah. I don't think he likes Jagsy.
But we're taking him to see the world.
Are we?
I think he'd make a great addition to the crew.
I like coconut.
Yeah.
Lamb curry.
You can't eat him, Jagsy. Flick's made friends with him.
Oh yes, that's right.
That's
Coconuts are friends,
not
food.
discouraging him.
Look, it seems benign, and who knows? Maybe Ghost comes in useful.
And at least it's silent now, so maybe we look for.
Fine,
whatever
fine. I
was
won't
next
eat the
one.
damn coconut.
Plus, if he got lungs that powerful, he'll be great at karaoke.
He doesn't have lungs. He's a nut.
Well, I'm a nut. Doesn't mean I'm not a nice person.
You're a nut? No, you're a mermaid.
Jags is going around the corner.
All right, Jagsy, you leave this Mad Hatter's tea party as you continue around the corner. There's a door to your right, and then there's another door further down the corridor. That door is on its hinges.
So this door is on its hinges, the one immediately to my right?
No, that's closed and seems
yeah.
as in bad shape as the rest of the space. The corridor continues in front of you and opens up into what appears to be a bit of a bigger space.
Okay. I'll start by just listening in on that door as I go past it.
Sure thing. You place your ear to the door, you listen in, you don't hear anything. Just
All right.
the sagging, sighing of the bones of this house as it slowly dies.
Cool. I'll leave that one for the time being, and then I'll do the same thing to the next door.
Okay. The next door, there is a distinct sound of nothing. Again, just... It seems as if it's empty. That's all you can hear.
I'll wait for Lahuna to come around the corner,
Sure thing.
and I'll point to her and that door, and I'll point to myself and this door, and I'll gesture for Flick to come over here.
Which door are you pointing at, Jagger? No, Michael.
Oh, Michael. Okay, so the door I'm next to is the one I'm pointing at for me. The door
Right.
you're next to is the one I'm pointing at for you.
I'm next to two doors. Hence my question.
One of them is a window.
There's a window on your left.
Don't
that looks out over
jump
the
out
road.
the window. Don't jump out
Oh,
the
it's
window.
a window.
Yes, my apologies.
No, it's absolutely fine. I'll use my human meat eyes and actually see things. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just a big window that looks out over the garden.
Are there
That's
any
cool.
gaps in this door in front of me?
The one directly in front of you, yeah, there's a bit of papery like effect that's happened. If you want to try.
Flick. Come over here. Do it to this one.
The tentacles
push-
wrap. It tries to prevent itself from being pushed forward. It doesn't want to go.
Poor cephalopod.
And then you finally push it through. It pops through onto the other side.
I didn't really have a plan. What did you want, Jagsy?
I'm just going to take a few moments of silence to just stare at Flick in bewilderment and weighing. And it's that time of month where I'm like weighing up emergency rations before I sort of, on my count again, look at Lahuna as we open the doors to those two rooms. Or at least,
Okay. Lahuna's ready. We've done this before.
yeah.
You both push open the doors as best you can, and you are
Do I
faced
send
with.
an octopus flying?
I beg your pardon?
Do I send a small octopus flying as I open the door?
Well, the octopus is desperately holding onto the door on this side. So as you open it, you just see the sort of tentacle waving in the wind as the door is pushed open. Inside these two rooms, pretty similar to one another. Let me show them to you. Just bits of detritus, bits of old sea chest. There is a crate in the room that you are in, Jagsy. You and Flick. The crate of everything looks to be okay. Then there are two chests that are at the far end of the room. And these chests seem to be fairly robust. The one in your room, Lahuna, the side of it has been ripped open, but there could be something inside of it. The one in your room, Jagsy, the chest is quite solid.
What's this white square? Rectangle?
It's a table that has an old cloth hanging over it.
So the chest in this room with Jagsy is intact.
It is intact, correct.
I'm going to fire my harpoon gun at it.
Avoid a harpoon flying past my head.
You do. It's actually not your head. It's
Oh, my like hip.
It's your leg, upper thigh. This harpoon bolt slams into the chest. There's a thud, and you see that the harpoon bolt sunk almost halfway through the chest.
Okay. I don't think it's a monster.
Lahuna, you're walking over towards the chest. Please give me a dexterity saving throw.
Yes, I thought that was going to happen. Sadly, Lahuna is not as smart as me, nor as cautious, so she's probably going to die. Not today!
No, not today. You stepping forward, bits of the floor sag, some of it actually gives way, but you dance to the side and step onto what you think is a beam that would run underneath the floor. So yes, you are safe as you look down into a room below, also abandoned, lots of white sheets over rotting furniture and the like. From where you are, you can see that this chest, although the one side has... It looked as if it was ripped open. You realize now it hasn't ripped open, it just collapsed. It looks like little worms busy eating the wood as fast as they possibly can. But there is a glint of some glass objects, glass shapes inside of this chest.
Okay, I use my sword to poke around in the mess to see if anything shoots out. I'm thinking weaselage. Or at least I'm hoping not weaselage, but it's a weasel-sized hole.
That's what you're doing. Indigo?
Indigo is following, and she looks at where the room started sagging, where the floor started sagging, and she tries to avoid those bits, and she stays near the door. She goes, are you sure that you want to poke around to that?
I think it's fine. Just mind where the floor isn't.
No, I'm thinking about time and people getting away.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the 18,000 gold pieces that we owe.
And you hope to find them in there?
Every little helps.
It's a broken chest.
I think Indigo just knows about 8 of those, actually.
She's not good with numbers.
Are there shinies of great worth within this chest?
All right, so you're going to start going through the chest. Having poked it, that doesn't seem to contain weasels of any description. Weevils for sure, but weasels no. And you start to go through the chest. Inside the other chamber, Jags, you and Flick. Flick, what are you doing? The bolt has buried itself into the chest.
I'll pull out a bit of rope from my my pack, and I'll say, "Oi, Flick, go tie this around that harpoon you shot."
Okay.
You
done it.
Scamper over the wood. The floor barely even moves as you get to it. Rope's tied around the chest. You start dragging the chest over the floor, not a problem. You get the chest to about halfway across the room when the bolt comes out of the wood, bringing half of the wood with it. And these 4 glass vials roll out of the chest. Would you roll a d4 for me, please, Jaggerjaw?
Yes. Come now.
Just a d4,
Okay.
just a regular d4.
Oh yeah, it's just not obeying me. There we go. 2.
Of the 4 vials, 2 of them break as they clink and bounce against each other and spill this very sickly olive green liquid onto the floor. The other 2 seem to be intact.
What does it smell like? Is it potent?
The aroma reminds you of visiting Nan's Nan. There's a vaguely old, musty smell, and like the memory of potpourri roses that have been forgotten in a box behind the couch for years, and they've grown a little garden of hair. So it's this very old, very vaguely musty garden smell.
Can I roll a survival check?
You can. You can give me a survival check, absolutely. Possibly these would have been potions of healing, but they fermented long ago. The two that survived, however, they still have a dark red tinge to them. The liquid inside of them.
Pick them up.
Sure, pick them up, not a problem.
Yep. And I'm just gonna put them in my little pouch.
Sure thing.
How big?
Each one is a small little vial about that big. You suspect there's enough dosage in there for one each.
Okay. I put them in my little pouch.
Sure thing. Lahuna, you are looking inside of your chest. Mostly it looks to be shattered crystal baubles. Very strange looking. Possibly that was an owl, that was a mermaid, that was a dolphin diving in the water. But this chest has not been treated well, and most of them have shattered. There is one piece, however. It is a rather beautiful crystal recreation of a lobster, and it hangs on a silver chain, and if you hold it up, as it rotates slowly, it catches the light and throws rainbows around all over the place. Very, very, very pretty little bauble.
Oh, Flick will love this. I take it out and I put it in my pocket because I'll give it to Flick on his birthday.
Oh.
There you go. Other than that, the chests don't contain anything that is salvageable, just rubble and rubbish.
So, are there gold pieces in there?
Sadly not, but I found a crystal lobster.
What is that good for? You can't eat crystal, right?
No, but I think Flick will like it.
Flick eats crystal?
What would I like?
Shh, it's supposed to be a surprise.
What's a surprise?
You shouldn't eat crystal, Flick. It's not good for your insides.
What?
Very sound advice, Indigo. That's
Why would I-
excellent. Do we keep moving?
Yep.
Yeah,
we didn't find anything useful there.
No, I wasn't either.
Alright, you keep moving. Going downstairs. All the way downstairs. We get to our Captain Salt, who is following his good old companion, Gurgle Gut. I'm just busy getting the map ready, and then I will share it with you guys. Off you go. There we go. This is what you're seeing, Victor, as you come down
Very
the
large.
stairs. It appears to be a fairly large wine cellar, and there are crates and broken bottles of wine everywhere. There is also a very dead, desiccated human who died a long, long time ago. There are also crates of white paint that have been spilled all over the floor that you can see directly in front of your character. Gurglegut looks at you. Well, you want me to go and get your crew, or shall I take you to the boss?
I've already talked to the... Wait, which boss?
He's
Well, the one
running
in
the
charge.
organisation here.
Here. Yeah, well, look. We'll find the crew in a minute. Look,
You don't want to speak to Sanballet?
Sambil?
Sanballet. He's a rather
Sanballet.
vicious individual that you didn't really like when you worked with Gellin. He took delight in torturing and destroying individuals and didn't really care what happened to anyone. Not that anyone in Gellen's occupation or Gellen's line of work really did, but he seemed to actually enjoy hurting people.
Yes. Sambalet, huh?
Yeah,
Were
he's
you the
waiting
ones-
down the docks. Apparently there's a shipment coming in.
All right, of course. So, were you the ones who painted those weasels? There were a bunch of weasels that attacked us outside, covered in white paint. That paint, I'm guessing.
It was a stupid idea, but it worked, right?
What was it supposed to do?
Well, anyone seen the mentioned would see ghosts floating around.
Yeah, small ghosts. They were very, very upset.
Yeah, tried painting them. Took us a long time.
Yeah, I bet. I sort of saunter over and I poke this dead person with my foot a little bit.
They barely move. Their skin is like ancient parchment paper. I don't know who he is. He died here long before we got here.
Yeah, so I can see. But you don't think Sambalet and the rest of you mind if we hole up here for a couple of days then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to go into the operations?
No, I don't think I want to go into the operations. Look, I don't want to take my crew in there and disturb everyone.
That's very thoughtful of you. All right.
I'm very
Suppose you
thoughtful
can
man.
stay here. Right. Well, I'll leave you to it then. I'll just go and tell Sanballet that there's no more of them lizards wandering around.
We did see one.
Oh?
Did you get the one upstairs? The one that killed Niv?
No, didn't.
Well, there was
Alright.
one of them. I mean, my crew's going after it right now, but, you know, it might have gotten away.
He stopped just short of... It looked like he was going to walk into the wall when he said he better go and tell Sanballet. And as you started talking about the other one upstairs, he stopped short of the wall, which is just like any other wall in the cellar, and then turned, all right, I'll be back. And then he starts going up the stairs back into that ruined kitchen, leaving you alone. What are you doing, Salt?
That corpse, does it have anything interesting on it?
Picked clean long ago. There's an ancient rusted breastplate, but it is so rusted that you can
Even
stick
worse
your
than mine.
finger through it if you really wanted to.
Yes. I'm going to go over to that wall and sort of...
There are white footsteps leading from the spilt paint directly into the wall.
Of course there is. This is a Mickey Mouse operation.
You looking at the wall?
Yeah. Just sort of touching it.
The door slides open, revealing a rather large space in front of you. Oops.
Oh, dear.
If I use the right tool, it does. There is a large dormitory. Multiple beds are revealed to you, and a large table is there as well. There is also a very confused looking individual sitting at the table. He looks up and looks at you. Yes. He's a gnome.
What? Who are you?
Right. He
Right.
looks from you, and he looks at the set of stairs just behind him that he can see, that you can see as well. He looks back at you.
Look, I work for Gillen. I just want to know what your name is. God's sakes. You don't have to bolt.
Give me a deception check, if you please.
I do work for Gillen.
Oh, you do work for Gellen, so that's an honesty. Okay.
I do work for Gillen. I mean, he conscripted me. I do not voluntarily, but I do work for Gillen again. I might as well make
Why
use
did
of
you
it.
say so? All right, fine. Come in. You're letting the draft in.
I got my crew with me, by the way. Is it alright if they stay here? It's nicer than upstairs.
If you work for Galen, I suppose. You'll have to talk to Sandbullet. He's in his room.
All right. What's your name?
Oh, no, wait. He's downstairs. He's getting the shipment coming in.
Name?
Lasrin Lithman.
Lasrin. Right.
Yeah. What's your name?
Victor.
Right.
Salt.
New to a Gellen's operation, are you?
Yeah.
He pays well. Can't
It
complain
sure
there.
does. Where's Sandbullet?
He's downstairs, he says, indicating to the stairs going down.
All right. I go over to the stairs.
You can hear talking, shouting of individuals and people, general noise coming from down there. Plus, you can hear the breath of the sea as the waves lap and wash against rocks that must be exposed down those stairs.
I head down. I'm gonna have to explain myself to Luna. She's gonna be so pissed at me for disappearing, but I'm just gonna get this over with.
There you go. You head down.
Thank you.
And down. Back to you folk. Upstairs. This room in front of you, Jags, has got a set of stairs going up and a set of stairs going down and a rather unfortunate hole in the floor. There.
Oh, that's rather inconvenient.
Well, you make the right sound. Now you can give me an athletics or acrobatics check to jump across said drop. It's a 5-foot drop. A 5-foot wide gap.
Athletics.
Yes.
Shouldn't be too hard.
Gliding through the air as if you are some kind of flying kobold. You land on the other side. All of you watch as bits of tile slide off of the hole deeper into the chamber below. There's bits of rubble and other wood that slimps in as well. The landing that Flick is on does not look particularly stable. Lahuna?
How deep are these stairs going down?
They seem to just go down to the level below you that you came up from.
Right, so if I were to do that, or even climb the banister and do that,
Yep, not a problem.
then if I fall, I'll fall on stairs rather than down
Correct.
to the levels.
Correct. Correct. No,
So
you
I'm
vaulted. Not a problem.
Shall I roll something?
No. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to slide over that banister. As you stand on the stairs, all of the stairs, however, sag quite heavily. You don't think they will take Jagsy's weight.
Jagsy, maybe don't take my route.
I'll sort of get a bit of a run up on the pit before I jump.
No.
Are you going to jump over to the other side? Right? Yeah? Give me an athletics check as you launch yourself.
I'm clinging onto the walls.
Not too bad. That's a 12.
That's a 12. All right. Well, you clear the 5 foot. You land on the other side. Does the structure survive? Yes, it does. It holds. There's a sagging. There's a creaking. Flick, you watching as this whole corner of the house is gently rocking.
I don't like it.
Lahuna? Sorry, Indigo?
I don't think we should all be in the same place. This looks bad. Like a shipwreck left underwater for too long. I don't like it.
Oh, I was going to say, can Flick start to crawl up these stairs, or are these stairs going down?
Those stairs are going up.
That's exactly what Lahuna was thinking. Lahuna is like, I'm getting off this landing.
All right, you're going up the stairs. Flick, you're following behind. Indigo, you watch as now it's just Jagsy, who is really the only one who has a major effect on the floor. He's ready to catch you.
Yeah, basically that's it. I'll be ready to catch just in case.
Well, I will try, and we will all scream and fall to our doom.
Like thoughts, Indigo?
You sail gracefully through the air as if borne aloft on wings and land next to Jaggerjaw without a problem whatsoever. The floor
Let us still
does
take his
dip.
hand.
You take his hand.
Oh, he Jagsy sort of helps her across,
Right,
but
you are.
not. She makes it perfectly fine. He is captivated by the elegance of the leap. Shakan do not move that way. Underwater sometimes, but not in air.
Absolutely. You following them up the stairs?
Yep.
Great stuff. I like it when my party's split by 4 levels of dungeon.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm among friends.
You're
Yeah,
among
we're just
friends.
complimenting.
Yes, that's a word.
It's close to friends as you can among these kind of people.
Correct. I will share the map with you now. This is where you arrive as you come up the stairs. First up was Indigo. Was Luna. Why am I getting confused today? I need to sort my brain out. Luna goes up first, followed very closely by Flick, followed by Indigo, and then Jaggerjaw bringing up the rear there. This is a very ruined attic that presents itself to you. Lots of debris, lots of abandoned, looks like bags of stuff, rotting cotton bags are all over the place. The floor is cracked and sagging, and at the far end there is a particularly curious collection of spider webs. Cocoons about the size of footballs, that's American footballs, hang from the ceiling in various clusters, sometimes 6, sometimes 8, sometimes 2 or 3. Some have burst open, others are still closed. There is a general chittering, however, that is emanating from these webs that are all over the space.
I think we've disturbed a land crab nest. We should leave.
Nope.
Jagsy looks up.
The roof beams of the roof are sagging under the weight of the old slate tiles, and there appears to be a movement in amongst the dark rafters. There is very little light in this space.
Nope.
Yep. Nope.
Luhuna, you are in front.
I am.
Give me a perception check, if you please.
Oh, I am not the right person to do that. Oh, we chose poorly. So many maps everywhere. Sorry, hang on.
I believe in you, Luna.
You can do it.
Moved by maps. They're very beautiful maps, but I can't find myself amongst them.
Made for us by Dungeon Fog. I love them. Yes.
They're very pretty.
Yes, by now we have 4 of them open.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, I was having a story of stories.
Oh,
I peer through the dark, dust again in my eyes.
Yes, you see very little. Flick, you are looking at all of this in not happiness. That doesn't look like the face of happiness. You do notice in the very center, however, there is a particularly large collection of rubble, but you see a hand. A very small little hand, no bigger than your finger, but it's sticking out of the rubble, and it looks as if it's carved out of jade, glinting.
Look! There's a tiny little hand.
Everyone sort of looks at this little jade hand. Does
Wait,
look like it could be a
looks
statue in
at
there.
the tiny hand of the kobold.
Wait! Don't move! It could be a trap. Pinky! Go!
Throw Pinky into the center of the room, as close to the little jade hand as he can get.
Give me a ranged attack.
Poor baby. Why does he still hang around you, honestly?
This abusive relationship.
There are times when Pinky actually says harder, Daddy. No, the octopus lands in
PG, guy,
a
PG.
random place
thing.
in
Gone.
this space. I'm going to roll a d8 for where it lands. I need a token for Pinky. I really do. Let me bring one up so we can keep track of just what on earth is happening here.
Do you have a screaming octopus token? Is that a thing?
Well, I have a token. I don't know if it's a screaming octopus. Let's see. It's
Just-
just an O for now. I'm going to make you a pinky token because I think you need a pinky token.
PTSD in its eyes.
1, 2, 3, 4. It has landed over here in a big bundle of tendrils and
Hatred.
Pinky, get the hand. The hand.
it slinks over. What's Pinky's intelligence?
Oh, the intelligence of an octopus. So pretty high, I think.
The
for a-
intelligence of an octopus. I happen to have that in front of me right now. An octopus has a 3 intelligence here, according to this. Pinky's got double that. Pinky's smarter than that, I think.
Yeah, octopuses in general are really smart.
They really
Smart
are.
Taxi.
He got a 19 on his intelligence check. He has slunk over to the statue, and Pinky envelops the statue. It pulls some of the wood away that was covering the statue. It looks to be a very beautiful jade statue of a young man in quite a heroic pose, hand raised to the stars. And Pinky
You're doing
just
a stop
wraps
laugh.
around the entire statue. Flick, you know exactly what is going through his little brain right now. This is his.
No! Pinky, bring that here. Bring it over here. Don't eat it. Not yours. Bring it. Come on.
A tentacle
Pinky?
strokes the hand.
I'm gonna start to very gingerly walk through the room.
Alright, you're starting to walk towards Pinky. The moment you do so, the little octopus relents. It knows it's beaten. You are more powerful than it is. So it just sort of grabs with one leg behind it, the statue, and then it drags it sullenly towards you, looking miserable. It turns grey because it's not happy. There's a sort of
Come on.
scraping sound as this jade statue is brought towards you. Eventually, Pinky gets to you with the statue, and rather sulkily hands the statue over to
Thank
you.
you. Very nice of you. Thank you very much.
So
The statue looks to be of a young man. You could swear the 4 of you, or the 3 of you, Jagsy, you didn't ever get there, I don't think, but the 3 of you, this statue looks ridiculously like the man who is the statue somewhere on these grounds, and the big statue that has been carved down in the center of town.
Oh! Indigo!
I whip out the
Look!
scapula.
Yes.
Get the-
Nothing coming off of it.
Oh!
I think it is safe.
Oh!
Just looks to be a very beautiful and fairly expensive carving of this young man. Luna?
Can I, so, I'm sorry, I turned to Flick. Can I have a look at that?
Well, 1 second. I'm gonna try something.
Okay.
I'm gonna place my hand on it. I'm gonna cast Identify.
You cast Identify upon this particular little statue. Give me a second here. Your spell... remind me, what is the colour of your magic again?
Red.
Red. Right, you are. So you cast Identify. The magic swirls around it for just a moment. And then... the results that come back are, unfortunately, fairly mundane. It's a beautifully carved statue, but it doesn't seem to have anything other than that. It's not magical at all.
Guys, this is magical.
It is? What kind of magic?
What does it do?
It makes things pretty.
It
That's
makes
cool.
things pretty. There you go.
Then we don't need it. We can sell
Magic
it.
of hard work. And craft.
I need it.
Jaggerjaw, well, is Flick kind of like holding it like, you know, with that avarice kind of thing?
Most
Yes.
likely.
Jaggerjaw will very, very commonly pick up Flick by the collar of his armor and pry the idol from his grip and then hand it to Luna. That's for the captain to decide where to go.
What?
But good work, little one. And they'll put him down.
You don't need it, Flip. You are already pretty.
Oh,
I'll also try and keep my eyes on the movement that seems to be coming from the rafters. As I say, we should probably find the captain.
That's what you're saying. As you say that, we go to the captain. Captain, you've come down those stairs into a rather complex, it looks like, series of caves. There's a branch to your left and there's a branch to your right.
Are there any lights?
Sounds of the sea coming from both directions.
Yes, I'm gonna. Does it look like, because there's a light on the right path?
Yes.
Does it look like that place is further lit?
It does, indeed.
Then I'm gonna walk down that path then.
All right. You get to another junction. This time the southerly route, or the northerly route, I should say, definitely looks as if it continues towards light.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow that.
Sure thing. You follow it. It opens up into a larger cavern, which doesn't seem to progress too much further. This big cavern, there are 3 individuals there who are very quietly going about their business as you arrive. One of them looks up at you and says, stop. Who are you? What are you doing here? Did Galen send you?
Work for Gillen. Where's Sam Ballette? I need to talk to him.
Mr. Corridor, common, we do it all the time. Go back 1 and turn to the right.
Right.
Left. Right.
What?
Hook hand, he says, and he holds up a hook.
Right, thank you. I go back and go left.
All right, as you march back, you can see the corridor does go to, indeed, your left, your hook hand.
My
you
hook,
assume
yes.
that's what that means. It's a dead blind. There is a corridor to your right, though. It illuminates out, and you can see the passage heading off to the south, as well as to the north, I should say, and then to the west. Which way? East? Which way are you going?
I'm gonna just look into this place right to the
Sure
east.
thing.
Yeah? Just gonna peek
It's
inside.
filled with crates that seem to be busy being loaded up, and more of these individuals busy at work, busy loading up crates and the like. Casks of brandy, bolts of silk. Looks like some quite nice armor, various weapons, long swords, ballista bolts, quite a lot of materials being loaded up.
The usual stuff, yeah.
They look at you, they kind of assume you're meant to be here and carry about their business.
Sort of go the other corridor then.
Sure thing.
I'm just gonna keep walking until I find Sam Ballette, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is precisely what you do. You come around this little corner. More crates. These crates, however, are busy being unloaded very, very carefully. And you get to see the ocean as you step into the larger cavern. The ocean beyond, the shore gently lapping at this obviously obscured cave. There is a large pile of goods and barrels, all marked with a giant flame that
Oh! Okay, I know what
being
these are.
handled very, very carefully. There are more of these individuals here, and then there is a particularly large one. You know him as San Ballette, and then standing in a boat, busy handing casks over, is this very large hobgoblin, and he's looking down at San Ballette. San Ballette is looking at him, saying, "The delay was completely unacceptable. His master is very unhappy and is only willing to pay you 100 gold per barrel, unlike the previous agreement." The hobgoblin looks down at him and says, "If your master will not pay the full rate, I will take the fire back." That's when both of them look up and see you. San Ballette says, "Who the hell are you?"
I'm insulted, Sam Ballette. You don't remember me? It hasn't been that long, has it?
"You're supposed to be dead."
Yes, well, I'm supposed to be a lot of things. These are the fire crystals, I imagine.
How did you know? We haven't even told Gellin that they arrived.
I'm the one who's supposed to use them, right?
What kind of operation is this that you are... You have not... I am not happy, Sanballat, says the hobgoblin as he looks at Sanballat. Sanballat shoots you a look of daggers, and then...
I walk over to the boat with the hobgoblin is.
You are in charge here? No, I'm in charge. I don't care what Gellin said. He might have sent you down to do his dirty work for him, but I wasn't responsible for the delay and the crystals. It was them. They did it. He says, pointing at the hobgoblin. We were delayed because of bridge which collapsed. We had to take sea route. You are lucky we are even here.
I'm Victor Salt. I'm the one Gellin sends when things go wrong. And I'm the one who... I don't really fix things. I just make sure they don't go wrong twice. Do you understand?
Do you have my money?
Do you have his money, Sanballat?
Yes, of course we've got his money.
Then hand them over.
The full rent.
And we'll be done here.
They were late.
I turn to look at him and I go, who cares at this point? Things have been delayed, and the other end as well. It doesn't matter. And you, if you're late again, I'm going to kill you. All right?
Give me an intimidation roll with advantage.
Let's see. Oh god, skills, intimidation.
As you try and intimidate these individuals.
It's pretty good.
18, not bad. Sanballat glowers. Fine, but it's not right of Gellin to take away this operation from me just because it was late by a few hours.
He hasn't taken it away from you. Don't worry about it.
The hobgoblin looks at you. I would have preferred to have been dealing with you directly rather than that sniveling slug which has been delaying my deliveries. You will not suffer this delay again. If you wish for more Gnomish fire crystals, you merely have to ask, and we will supply, of course.
Thank you. I hold out my hand to sort of shake his.
He grips it in this firm steel grip, shakes it twice, and then lets go and taps his chest with his hand to his heart, and the last of the barrels is unloaded by the smugglers standing around you, and Sanballat comes back with a rather large chest which he's carrying. Here it is! And he hands the chest over to the hobgoblin, who takes it in one hand. Until next time, then. He gives you a bow, pushes off, and the boat starts to float out into this little alcove. You notice that you're probably only about 4 miles away from Saltmarsh itself, so this must be quite a well-hidden little cave, but it's not uncommon for Gellin to have these all over the place.
Yeah, it's a holy area.
Correct.
I sort of turn towards Sanballat and I go, I'm not here to take over for you. Don't worry about it.
We could have paid him 100 as opposed to 150 for every barrel. We could have sat pretty. Gellin wouldn't have known. Oh.
What did you just say? Did you say you were trying...
Nothing. I didn't say anything, all right? I'm so glad that you're not dead.
I figured. I pat him on the shoulder. I've got my crew here. We need somewhere to sleep for a couple of nights. Is that all right with you?
Now you ask for permission? Not when I was dealing with my negotiations? Sure, fine. Sleep soundly, Salt. You're a guest.
Good. And I won't tell Gellin about your attempt to, you know, lead some money off the top.
I don't know what you're talking about. Now,
Neither do I.
Whoever owned this place before we got here had quite a good taste in wine, as a matter of fact. So I suggest you come along.
Alright, I follow.
As you're about to leave, the bandit behind him says, what do we do about the lizard, boss? He immediately turns around. Shut up! I'll talk about that later. Salt, let's get you to your bed, shall we?
I need to go get my crew. They're upstairs hunting down that lizard.
Another one? I mean,
Yeah,
oh, fine.
killed Niv.
Good. Yes, sure. Great. Yes.
One of them killed Niv.
Well, that's not going to be much of a loss to the organisation, if I have to be absolutely honest.
You know, you're the second one who said that.
Well, he wasn't very useful, was he? He was supposed to pretend to be a bloody ghost, and all that he did was sleep all day.
He's cheap.
Yes. You don't know what happened. Did you find him?
Find who?
Nev.
Yeah, he's outside. Well, he was outside. His body is. Why?
No reason. I might go and get it later and give him a proper burial or something.
Oh yeah, because you were always so God-fearing, weren't you?
Yeah, you know me. Religious to a fault, he says as he starts leading you out
Sure.
of these caves.
Yeah.
Back upstairs we rush. Hopefully. If I can click on the right space. We find our intrepid heroes with the jade statue. What are you doing?
I want to poke this thing with my sword because it's what I do. I poke things, see what happens. So I poke this cotton bag that I have in front of me, just see what falls out.
You poke the cotton bag.
Yeah.
Is it spiders?
Okie dokes. You
The spiders
poke
fall
the
out.
cotton bag, and for a moment your blade sinks in. Doesn't seem to have much resistance. You pull it out, the bag rotates for a few moments, and then thousands of little spiders burst out of the bag, moving incredibly quickly.
Oh no, it's a swarm of no!
That isn't the worst part.
What have you done?
I poked a thing!
No!
That's the
I'm
worst
curious!
The worst part, sadly...
That's curious now.
Now you're curious? The worst part is that these rather horrific things, as they're crawling out of the bag, there is a chittering from the ceiling directly above you, and a rather large individual spider crawls down out of the ceiling next to you. I'm just adding them to this list very quickly.
Nope.
So you can see them.
Nope. Big nope.
You just had to poke it.
There's that. And then there is a giant spider which lands.
Yeah.
It's a giant spider. It lands next to you. Its massive mandibles looking at you as its little swarm washes around. We're going to go into initiative here because that's what we do. Let me just roll it here quickly. Roll initiatives. The spiders are going first. They swarm along the ledge, the walls, the floors, streaming towards you, Lahuna. They make their attack and miss as the thousands of little bites. They start to crawl in and onto your coral armor, and they're trying to climb inside the barnacles and attack the barnacles and the tongues that are busy moving through it. Indigo, you're up. What are you doing?
Eating the spiders.
I quickly and deftly move forward and get in between Flick and the giant spider, and I try to poke it with my trident.
Make your attack.
Yeah.
As you try and interpose yourself.
Oh, sorry. I
That's
need
right.
to
That's a hit.
throw it on the spider.
That's okay. You
Oh,
can
okay.
just throw your damage onto it. I can tell you it was a hit.
Okay. Flop.
5 points of damage get done to this poor little spider.
Stay
Giant
down,
spider.
Flick.
As you stab it, it shrieks and skitters around, and then it attacks you, Indigo. Great big mandibles try to wrap themselves around you, and that is a hit. You need to give me a Constitution saving throw as it deals 9 damage to you.
Constitution. That's what I'm.
That
really
is fine.
good at.
You don't take any of the poison damage which starts to flood your body, but you are unconscious. You drop to the floor as the spider continues to consume you. Immediately, its abdomen starts to leak silk in anticipation of what it is about to do next. Flick, you watch as Indigo is gripped by the maw of the spider, and its front legs start to roll her lifeless corpse in preparation for cocooning. Well, not yet, but it's anticipating. It's a spider. It only has limited future sense. What are you doing, Flick?
Don't hurt my friend!
And I'm going to cast Ice Knife.
Ice Knife. That's a hit. What's your damage? 2 points of damage to the spider. The ice shatters against its hardened carapace and doesn't seem to affect it too much.
Okay. Each creature within 5 feet must succeed a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 cold damage.
Each creature within 5 feet.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay. So Indigo automatically fails because you are unconscious. As Fantasy Grounds says there, auto fail.
Yeah.
So roll your damage. Her Flick, I'm going to roll the spider now. It's a dexterity saving throw, you say?
Huh.
It gets an 18. It's fine. You do 7 points, so if it fails, it takes half damage?
I think so, yes.
Yes. Alright, so half of 7 is 3, so it sits on that much damage. And Indigo, you take more damage. You take
I'm
7.
a frozen corpse.
Yeah, you are indeed a
I'm an elf-sickle.
You are indeed. And that would be 1 failure for you automatically as you take more damage.
What have I done?
See? It happens sometimes.
I don't need enemies. I don't need NPCs. Meanwhile, downstairs, Sanballet has taken you, Salt, all the way back to the main entrance. And he looks at you. He's leading you, or he's got you in the front, and he's like, okay, why did Gellin send you here anyway? It couldn't have been because the crystals were late. He must have known the bridge was washed away.
No, he didn't send me here.
Then why are you here? You said you wanted to hide away.
Yes, I need to hold out for a few days. I've just come back to Saltmarsh. It might be a good idea for me to lay low, don't you think?
Yes, it might be.
I just thought I'd give you a hand so that that person back there didn't sail away again with all the fire crystals, because I don't think Gellin would have been much happier about that.
No. But at the same time, wouldn't it have been such a tragedy if someone had lost their coal, he says, and he takes 5 steps back and points his hand at you, and this bolt of frost appears.
Oh
and it
no!
just blasts out directly towards you. Hobgoblins are known to be vicious. The bolt slams into the wall behind you and freezes over. Little bit of an accident. I don't need someone moving in on my operations, thank you very much. Especially not someone who's been dead for 4 years. Salt, what are you doing?
I draw both of my weapons and I attack this little shit.
Make your attack.
Sorry. sorry. I was very upset.
Make your
Totally
attack as you charge forward towards Sanballet. You can see he's already getting his next spell ready.
Oh god, could you share that map with me again while I find
Not
my
a problem.
attack?
It is shared.
Thank you so much. Actually, I haven't quite gotten used to this yet. Longsword.
You swipe at him and completely miss. He ducks out of the way. You've got old, he says.
Alright, I use my bonus action to attack with my hand.
Very
Really
old. Lahuna, back upstairs. Not those stairs. What are those stairs? Where's that map from? I don't know where that map's from. It's crazy. I can't keep track of which level you're all on.
So many maps.
Back upstairs. Flick has frozen Lahuna. She's starting to turn a deeper shade of blue. The spider is getting ready to cocoon her, and the swarm is all over you. What are you doing?
I'm going to ignore the swarm. Because I've been covered in crabs before. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's like a spa day for a mermaid being covered in crabs.
Sure.
It's cool. It's fine. I'm not freaked out by this as a character. As a player, I'm losing my essence. But, yeah. So Lahuna is pretty chill about this, but she does shout out, "Guys, I'm sorry, I was just curious, okay? I just wanted to know, and now I know, and I'm sorry, and I'm sorry." This spider is not going to fit down those stairs.
No.
Guys, let's retreat! Saying this, I move towards the giant spider.
Are you disengaging from the swarm, or are you just running over?
Oh, I thought the swarm was, like,
it's
on
it's,
me.
It's on you, it's around you, it's just all over the place.
I'm just ignoring it. If it's a swarm,
Alright.
do I have to disengage it? If it attacks me, fine. I'm gonna go save Lahuna. Now I'm doing it. Indigo.
Save yourself!
So, Lahuna, having uttered, "Let's run away,"
Right.
now launches at the giant spider with her sword, ignoring the fact that she is currently crawling,
With spiders.
and her armor is going into overdrive, eating all of the little snacks that are crawling over her. It seems to be enjoying itself, so that's something.
Give me an attack against the giant spider.
I shall. Pray for me. What's it? Oh.
You swipe at it with your megalodon toothed sword.
I do indeed, and as soon as I can find the right freaking tab, there we
Bottom
go.
tab, actions.
Yeah, I'm there.
That's
No,
a
that was damage. I feel like a granny. Sorry, guys.
You miss.
I miss.
You
I'm
miss.
so distracted by the itchy sensation of tiny crawling things.
You swing, swipe, and miss. Jaggerjaw, what's up with you?
Got an order, but I can't return to the captain without the first mate. Jaggerjaw, seeing Lahuna attacking the giant spider with her nasty, vicious sword. Indigo, of course, down and about to be webbed up, and Flick facing off with the swarm. Jaggerjaw is going to... I'm going to step forward.
Sure thing.
And tell Flick to get down the stairs as quick as you can. And I'm going to take a swing and try and cover...
Make your attack.
All right.
Swing that large weapon wide.
Although
Not
that being
rolling well
said,
today.
beasts are my favored enemy. Do I get advantage on rolls for that?
This is a beast.
Okay.
Oh,
Yay!
no!
Your attacks are not beastly. You swing wildly.
Ghost spider!
You look as
a
Indigo looks very, very pale. Salt, you look up as Sanballet charges up more magic to destroy you with. And we'll be back next week.
Oh no.
Because we run out of time. Some love to our amazing sponsors, worldanvil.com, for providing the Character Heroes platform for us. You've got links to go and check out everything. Have a look at that. Dungeon Fog for supplying these amazing maps for us to make use of. And of course, Fantasy Grounds for giving us these awesome rolls. If you haven't done the treasure hunt, look down below for the cryptic clue as to where you should go. Let's just switch over to the full screen quickly, and you'll see the clues cycling through there. If you don't join us for Below the Decks, we'll see you again next week. If you want to watch the show, you can catch it also on the Dungeons & Dragons YouTube channel, or later on in the month on the How to Be a Great GM channel. Thank you for watching and for participating. We go now back to twitch.tv/GreatGM for Below the Decks, where we hang out with the crew and myself, and you can talk, discuss, and reminisce over what happened in today's show. Until we meet again, however, I wish you fair seas, happy sailing, and from all of us, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.